Now to a developing story in Northridge where a 22-year-old woman was gunned down over the weekend. Police say early Saturday morning, two male suspects approached a parked car at Bryant Street and Tampa Avenue and opened fire. The victim, Maria DELAROSA, was pronounced dead at the hospital. Two others who were in the car were wounded. Police say a motive remains unclear, but that the shooting may have been gang-related, and they have not made any arrests.
It's a shame that Los Angeles used to be a place that was known where a rising artist would go to do business and make music. But now my home state, it's known as a place that you go to die. Yeah, you can enjoy the weather so that you can have your funeral on a nice sunny day. Yeah, you can enjoy the breeze and go to the beach if you don't mind bleeding out on the sand. She was not even killed in the city. She was killed out in the valley in Northridge, which means that this was not a random robbery or something like that. This was more so a hit. Now we can only just speculate at the moment. We understand everyone by this point knows how the music industry works. A lot of the money that goes to fund these projects and these music careers, the investors, it's a lot of drug money. She's Latina, so it's a lot of money that can be coming from, from the cartels, from across the border, from trafficking, drug distribution. There's a lot of money in that line of work. And if somebody invested in her and they owe somebody else money and she was the talent, this could be retaliatory and nothing to do with her per se. She was too young to have developed any real enemies, and she was too new into the music business to be much of a threat to anyone. Now, I had heard one of her songs actually, because I listen to more Spanish music than I do English music. And I mean, I thought she was great. I thought she would be, doing big things, but unfortunately, Los Angeles is just not the place to be if you want to live. I've recently lost friends and family members in the streets of Los Angeles, and I've warned everyone to get out of LA. Remember the movie Escape from LA and Escape from New York? Los Angeles has now been declined into lawlessness. We don't have law enforcement. Our law enforcement no longer have budgets so that they can do investigations. If you're murdered, you're done. Look at what's going on with the guy. I'm going to do a story about him tomorrow. David, D4VID, whatever, and how they found the body of that 15-year-old girl in the trunk of his Tesla. The police don't even want to investigate the crime. It's not that they're just assholes or insensitive. It's just that, for one thing, the suspect is black. Due to the new laws and in this racial climate, they can no longer enforce laws against anyone who's black. You can't arrest them without being accused of being racist. As soon as you try to pull them over or apprehend them for a crime, they want to hear your supervisor. They're going to call you racist. And because it's a liberal city, these officers will be brought before a commission and they can lose their jobs. So they've been trained and groomed to stay away from any black suspects. And what has that done? That sends a message to criminals that if you're black and you're a criminal, LA it's perfect for the taking. It's open season and nothing's going to happen to you. People don't like when I say that because they feel like I'm knocking their hustle. The problem is, if I was in LA right now, I could be on your menu. I could be your hustle. Robbing me and doing something to me could be in your plans, and there will be no justice for me. There will be no one coming to help me. My family would just be wondering, well, he was walking from his car in a dark alley in downtown Los Angeles. I live in LA, and I had a nightmare one day back in 2021 that I was getting out of my car. I was with a girl, and two guys with COVID masks walked up to me, pulled out a gun to rob me. I gave them my phone, gave them my car keys, gave them the cash I had on me, and they still pulled the trigger on me and the girl. And then I woke up in a sweat where my entire bed, my comforter, everything was drenched. It was real. It's like it happened to me in an alternate universe, and I was given a new lease on life in this new reality, and I shouldn't squander it. And I was on my way to go play poker that same night, and I walked down to my car with just with just a pair of shoes on. I didn't even take any luggage or anything. And I left my loft, and I never returned. I drove to Arizona. Then I ended up moving to Texas to get as far away from California as possible, because I knew the inherent dangers of living in downtown, of living in LA. I had found out a few months earlier that we no longer have police. If you call them, they're not showing up. I remember during George Floyd, the rioters were screaming, "We don't need police no more. As Black people, we'll police ourselves." I listened to them people lie and bullshit, and to that, I don't trust them anymore. They're not policing themselves. They're not taking care of their community, and the crime is getting worse. The murder is expanding. But now everyone knows there's no police, there's no investigations, there's no budget, and there's no desire to enforce the law. The judges are liberal. George Soros appointed. They're letting criminals out of jail, and they're locking up pretty much only white people. They specifically only are targeting white people because they want them out. They want to create this multicultural democracy. They no longer want to be in a constitutional republic. We've lost the entire West Coast. We've lost the Eastern Seaboard, New York, and especially now with the latest election, all the way down to Florida. The last remnants of our republic are Texas, Tennessee, South Dakota, Florida. That's pretty much it. The rest of this country is pretty much separated from the Fed. They kind of play by their own rules. Literally, you have judges that used to work with law enforcement to enforce the laws for public safety. They're now working against law enforcement and saying, hey, these illegals that are criminals, you can't prosecute them. And it's like, wait a minute. We went from locking up people to just letting people go free. And then you figure out that it's more so that these judges they're ideologically driven. It's nothing about public safety. And they've chosen sides. You don't know how many of them judges are also on those lists. You don't know how many of the judges are MAPs. And in the new multicultural democracy, MAPs or pedophiles are actually a protected group under the LGBTQP umbrella. Pedophilia is no longer a crime. It's decriminalized. Under a constitutional republic, they go to jail. Under a multicultural democracy, it's affirmed as a sexuality. So there are incentives for these judges in a way to have to release these criminals and change how they judge on the bench, because they're saving themselves also from future litigation and prosecution. It's like every day we find out more and more politicians, judges, cops, all these different people who you thought were normal, you find out they're all MAPs, minor attracted persons, or pedophiles. You find out it's like a big discovery. It's like everybody. So us people that want to protect kids, are we the minority? Are we the odd ones out? It's looking more and more like that every day. So because of that, crime is no longer being the laws are not being enforced against certain crime anymore. You got to think about it. This is California. There were three major building blocks for the Democrat Party. It was the Black community, the gay community, and the illegals. They had to offer these groups something in return for your continuous and unwavering support. For Black people, what they said was, look, we'll allow you to steal up to $1,000 or more, and we won't prosecute you. That was their exchange with Gavin Newsom in California, the California local governments. And that's what they offered them. They let them steal without being prosecuted, and they pretty much made it illegal to even stop them. I mean, I remember you would get fired if you even called the police on shoplifters. So that's what they worked out with the Black community. With the gay community, they decriminalized being caught with underage kids if you're an adult. So if you're an adult and you're gay and the kid is 8 years old, but he says he's gay, the waters are so muddy. And because of SB Bill 145, you no longer have to register as a sex offender. That was the exchange for the support from the gay community for the Democrat Party. And then the final nail in the coffin was for illegals. They're paying them with cash that they laundered through Medicaid, and they were giving them SNAP benefits plus Section 8 in exchange for them living in California, which would increase the congressional seats because it's based on population, not based on citizenship. So even if your amount of illegals are still living in the state, that's counted in the census, and that raises the amount of congressional seats. But also, these people illegally vote, and there's no when they go through and do an audit, there's no auditing. Once the election is over, it's over. They're not going to go back, check it, make sure, say, wait a minute, 90% of these people that voted were illegals, and then remove you from office and put the other person in. That they're not going to do that. So they buy your votes that way. So everyone had a deal in exchange in California to get the supermajority, but in every deal they make, the one common denominator is you have to get law enforcement off of our asses, and that's all we want, so we can thrive and do what we want to do, and you'll have our support. So what have they had to do in all these municipalities in California? They've had to defund the police daily, and now they don't have enough funding to even check rape kits or to do DNA. They can barely afford a autopsy. They'll do a quick post-mortem exam, but they're not getting in there and checking everybody who's killed and how they die. They just don't have the resources for it. They've all been removed. So when I see cases like this, a young woman is killed and they have no idea who did it. Of course they don't. It's California. Whatever happens to you, you're going to get whatever happens to you. It's just too bad, too sad. Whoever did it's going to get away with it. And even if they figure out who did it, once you go to court, they're going to say, hey, you don't have any proof. There's no evidence. They're going to just jam you up in the legal system, and then they're going to have to let the people go anyway. There won't be any prosecutions. So unfortunately, she was too young to understand the dangers of being in Los Angeles. You would think it's going to be a fun place. You want to go to clubs. You want to go here. You want to go there. It's too dangerous. You know, it's not safe where I'm from. You can't just live your normal American life like you typically would have 20 years ago. Those days are long gone. You know, I would say ever since 2020, we've lost our home. We lost California, and I evacuated. I got lucky. But a lot of my friends and family members, if they didn't die from the jab, they've died from lead poisoning, gun violence, and robberies, etc. And there's really nothing you can do about it. So this is just another poor soul, a talented woman, a beautiful, talented woman, a Latina singer, just gone. All because they wanted to get more votes and keep their power, so they get rid of police. You know, I'm doing another story about how Brandon Johnson in Chicago is saying, wait a minute, enforcing laws and putting people in jail that are criminals, that doesn't stop crime. It just shows you these maps, and these people are making their move. They're sick. And if we don't push back, we lose it all. And then where are you going to go? Especially if you're an American and you only speak one language and the United States is all you know. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? Do you have a backup plan? I don't know. And thank you also again, Jesse on Fire, for the shout out today on your show. I received a lot of new followers, people that are leaving comments. I do appreciate it. I will continue to make content. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope it's informative, and I appreciate all the comments and feedback. Again, if you don't agree, or if you do agree, please leave me a comment. I want to interact with you. I want to hear what you say. And I do videos based off of the emails that I get, the singleboyfriendrico@gmail.com. People send me stories, or people bring up topics to me in the comments, and I'll do stories on those, and we can talk about them openly together, and we'll see if we can have a meeting of the minds. So I do appreciate you guys all tuning in. I'll be back on live in about 20 minutes with another story. Remember, America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.